Hey guys, welcome to Man Medicine, where we talk about how men can optimize their health and escape the collapsing U.S. healthcare system. Question I used to get a lot and sometimes still do is, will my insurance cover my testosterone therapy? And the answer is probably not. I'm going to show you what thresholds some of the major insurance companies use here to determine whether or not they'll cover your testosterone in this talk today, which I think might be useful for some of you guys to answer that. Obviously, I can't comprehensively cover every single insurance plan that's out there, but I want to show you some of the major ones and share that information with you today. So, before I do that, I'm going to give you a little rant on insurance companies. Insurance companies are not your friend, and they are absolutely not my friend as a physician. So this may come as a little bit of a shock to some of you, but insurance companies don't give a damn about your health. Their primary purpose, I should say, and obligation is to their shareholders. So these are large for-profit organizations, and obviously I'm a capitalist. I'm not against making a profit. However, I think it's important to see through some of these ridiculous insurance company commercials that I see on television and I hear on the radio that make them come across as these benevolent organizations that are really going and bending over backwards just to keep you healthy and make you feel safe and do the right thing for you. The truth is, I truly believe they don't give a shit about you. They are in this for the money. Again, I don't have a problem with the money part of this, but I would just prefer if they were honest about it. So insurance companies make doctors' lives absolutely miserable. And I could go on and give you dozens of examples of that that I've experienced and my colleagues have experienced. They make life difficult for patients too, but mainly behind the scenes, what you guys don't see is what the roadblocks that they put up for doctors. So remember, insurance companies, they don't make money by paying claims. They don't make money by making it easy for doctors to prescribe new medications that are quite expensive that maybe come out on the market, even if that's the best medication for the patient at hand. So you really need to keep that in mind. So some of the tricks that they most commonly do, the big one is pre-authorization paperwork. So, if somebody has a medical condition that would benefit from a new drug that's been on the market, that's it's not a generic at this point, and so it's big pharma has jacked up the price on it, so it's going to be quite expensive. First of all, the physician is going to have to prove that you as the patient has failed at least one and usually multiple other standard treatments. And again, I don't have a huge problem with that, but it is, sometimes it's a hindrance because it's obvious that the patient needs this new medication. These older drugs are not going to cut it, and we just need to go straight to this new drug. But they many times will not allow that. So I've got to prove with charting. So I might have to put you on a medicine that I know is not going to work for you for 3 to 6 months to prove, hey, this person got worse or they didn't get better before they'll, consider authorizing the new medication. So once we've proven that this medication doesn't work for you, then I have to fill out all this pre-authorization paperwork and fax it off somewhere where somebody who almost universally is not a medical doctor, may or may not even be a nurse, usually is somebody who may or may not even have a college degree, looks in a big book and looks down at whatever the policy is and will either rubber stamp it as yes or rubber stamp it as no. Now, if there's a no, which invariably it's going to be a no, then it has to be appealed. So that's another set of paperwork, and many times a phone call. You can tell I'm getting a little hot about this because these are there's just these repeated roadblocks that insurance companies put in the way of doctors that you as a patient, you may not be aware of this, but this is just an every single day thing. When I was in primary care, I had to deal with this shit on a daily basis almost, and it is incredibly frustrating because you want to do the right thing, you know what the patient needs, and you just have to fight and fight and fight just to get your foot, in the door just to do the right thing for the patient. So anyway, I'm going to stop my little rant. Let me tell you what some of the major insurance companies require when it comes to testosterone, because I'm just going to go off the deep end here in a minute. Let's talk about Blue Cross Blue Shield. Actually, you know what? Let's lump these together because they're all going to be the same with the exception of one. So we're talking Blue Cross Blue Shield, UHC, which is United Healthcare, Pacific Source, and Aetna. So these are all like major insurance companies. All of them require a total testosterone of less than 300 milligrams per deciliter. It has to be on 2 separate days, and it has to be before 10 a.m., which is consistent with the Endocrine Society guidelines, by the way, for the diagnosis of hypogonadism. All right, so here's some interesting things about this. So they do not look at free testosterone, which is what actually matters. So free testosterone, totally, you could have a free testosterone of 0.5, but if your total testosterone, and you could be horribly symptomatic, if your total testosterone is above 300, they don't care. They are not going to pay for your testosterone. They do it on 2 separate occasions because there is some day-to-day variation. So you could be 290 on one day. We could check you again literally 48 hours later, and you could be well into the 300s. Sorry, you don't qualify at that point. And then you might be wondering, well, what's the 10 a.m. thing about? Well, the 10 a.m. thing is because your testosterone levels are always higher in the early morning. It's part of the normal, like, diurnal variation that men have. Here's the thing about this. In older men, especially over the age of 60, that kind of goes away. But unfortunately, the insurance requirement for men that age does not go away. So they still have to have it drawn, before 10 a.m. Now, I've talked about this before. I think this is absurd. Men live most of their life after 10 a.m. So, what I care about is their symptoms. Clearly, I care about what their numbers are too, but I care about their symptoms. And this 10 a.m. requirement, in my opinion, this is purely a barrier to entry. It's an excuse not to treat men. It drives me crazy. I wish it would just go away, but nobody cares what I think. So, but that's what these companies want. They want you to get total testosterones under 300 twice, and they have to be drawn before 10 a.m. The thing that surprises me on here is that they're not requiring it fasting. Now, the caveat with these numbers, I should say, is these companies obviously they reserve the right to change these at any time. Anytime they want, they could change this tomorrow. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because now with the laboratory normal, in many cases going down to like the 250, like 240 range for many different assays, 300 is now considered to be normal. Yeah, you're normal. You don't need testosterone. So I expect that to change if it hasn't already. But this is, as of my latest research, this is what I found. Now, the only exception to these was Cigna. Okay, Cigna, their requirement is only a total testosterone less than 425 nanograms per deciliter, and I couldn't find anything saying that it had to be done twice, and I couldn't find anything that had to be done before 10 a.m. So please recall the caveat I just said. They may have changed this, yesterday, and I wouldn't be aware of it, and they certainly have the right to change it tomorrow. I don't know why Cigna has a higher level. I've kind of jokingly wondered that it's probably because their CEO is on testosterone, and he probably recognizes the benefit of it and wants other guys to have it. But I have no idea why Cigna is higher. But you know what, Cigna, good for you. 425 seems a lot more reasonable to me than 2 values under 300. So there you have it, guys. You have to meet the official, essentially you have to meet the Endocrine Society guidelines, which I believe are unnecessarily stringent, because there are a lot of men that benefit in many, many different ways from testosterone therapy, who have, on paper, have numbers that are higher than this. They have a total above 300. They may have free testosterones that are quite low. And there are a lot of men that have androgen receptors that are not particularly sensitive to testosterone. They require higher levels of serum testosterone in order to be optimally healthy. Insurance companies don't care about that. regardless of the fact that, honestly, testosterone it's one of the cheapest therapies out there. A bottle of testosterone cypionate for the insurance companies it probably costs them $30-40, tops. So, but yet they still have these like really strict requirements, strict in my opinion. So anyway, guys, that's it for today. I don't want to go any more rants about insurance companies. I need to go meditate and just chill, get my blood pressure down. I don't take insurance anymore. Thank God I'm outside of primary care. I run a cash pay practice only. And, I encourage you, if you don't meet insurance standards for testosterone therapy, but, you think that you may benefit from that, don't give up on it. Talk to a qualified physician about it, and if you have to pay out of pocket, I think you should do that. It's not that expensive, and the potential benefits can be, quite significant. So I'll leave that up to between you and your doctor. But I'm not a fan of insurance companies, guys. I don't know if you picked up on that. All right, guys. I'll catch you next time. Take care. All Man Medicine video and audio has been created and shared online for informational purposes only. This podcast does not constitute the practice of medicine or professional healthcare services of any kind, including the giving of medical advice. I am not your doctor. No doctor-patient relationship has been established. This content is not meant to be a substitute for professional medical advice and should not be relied upon solely for that purpose either. The only purpose of this content is to present peer-reviewed, research-backed health information for your consideration. As always, rely on the advice and guidance of your personal physician before undertaking any activity presented here, and if in doubt or not comfortable with said activity, practice discretion. Your health is your responsibility and not ours. Finally, I take conflicts of interest seriously. I accept no compensation whatsoever from any private corporations, including pharmaceutical or supplement companies. You can trust that if I recommend a medication, product, or service, it's because I genuinely believe in it and not because I'm being paid to endorse it.